on, Fitzy.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike. Today is the 15th of August. It is 11 a.m. Central European Time, 10 o'clock in the UK, and probably a lot later wherever you are around the world. Well, we nailed it, didn't we? The CPI data came in, and like we predicted yesterday on the stream, we predicted 2.9%, and it came in at 2.9%. So the question you are asking yourself is this: why is Bitcoin at $58,000 and not at $78,000? Well, we're going to try and answer that question in the next hour. If you're new here, please smash the like button. Please give us a follow. Bottom left-hand corner, you will see we're just under 155,000 followers. We're trying to get to 200,000 by the end of the year. If you look up a little bit, you will see that we are sponsored by Mew. These live streams are sponsored by Mew, which is a very sizable meme coin and one which you can buy on your exchange. So make sure to go and check it out. Now, we're going to get, again, like yesterday, we're going to try and break the stream up today. We're not going to focus solely on Bitcoin and ETFs. We're going to go through the price crash. We're going to go through a $1 ADA. Is that likely to happen? We're going to look at Sol. When is it going to go back to $200? We're going to go and look at a report that suggests that treasuries are the reserves of companies, and are they going to move on chain? We're going to look at shutting up shop. Immutable X has shuttered one of its products, the MetaMask credit card, something that I personally have been waiting for an awfully long time, looks to be making its way. And the Q&A. Now, somebody asked me yesterday to look at a coin which was LCX, which I did off stream, and I will go through that in the Q&A at the end of the show. So you all know what you need to do. Say hello in chat, smash the like button, hit follow, hit subscribe, let me know you're watching. This is not an AI voice. I am not Elon Musk. I am not Michael Saylor. I am really me, and my microphone just needs adjusting. That's better. Oh no, it's not. Give me 1 second while I readjust myself. A few good mornings. Danny is in chat. Drop Dead. Velvet Rope is here. Mags, I believe, is here. And a few others. Good morning to you all. Remember, if you say hello in chat, if you ask questions, it does not throw me off. It doesn't bother me. I don't care if you ask me questions. This is supposed to be a two-way stream. There was a time, maybe last year sometime, where we had one person in chat, two people in chat. Now there's a few of you. I'm more than happy to answer all of your questions. Good morning, Tariq. Good morning to Gianni. Should we go and have a look then at the prices and see where we are? Oh, we do have a poll question today. The poll question is very simply, the CPI has come in and it's good, 2.9%. Are we going to see rate cuts in September? 12 votes so far. Yes, 83. No, 17% so far. I would go with the majority there and say that we're going to see rate cuts. Now let's go and have a look. Let's go and have a look at some prices, shall we? There is a Bitcoin double top. Brogan saw it yesterday. There's a couple of double tops, and the title of the show today, if you look at the title of the show, I think it says Bitcoin about to crash, and I think we're going to come down, but we'll get to that later on. So Bitcoin coming in at 58,500, Ethereum back at $2,600. Who would have thought that my prediction, $2,600 and $2,900, would have come true? Not at the time that I made the video. We were at 3,400, and $2,600 was my worst case scenario, but there we go. Solana is holding steady, 143. BNB back at, well, it's still over $500. That's a reasonable price considering what's happening in the markets. Gainers then, Aave is up a touch, Gala, Flare, eCash, Litecoin. Tariq will be happy. Litecoin is back to $65. And Kronos is up. Now, Kronos, there is some big news. I'm going to make a video today about WolfSwap and Kronos Chain. Kronos has launched ZK Crow and there's the ZK Kronos Chain, and that will connect the Kronos blockchain to the Ethereum blockchain. And what that does is it unlocks all of the DeFi on Ethereum for Kronos Chain users. It's massive news, and that is probably why it is pumping a little bit, but I'm going to make a video about that today. Losers, again, Celestia is tanking, Audi is down, Brett at 8.5 cents, absolute steal. When we hit $20, $22 on Brett, I'm going to be screaming for you guys to sell and take some profits. And that's the same thing I'm doing now. 8.6 cents. It's under $1 billion. In this bull run, and by the way, full disclosure, I don't own any Brett, and I am not going to buy any Brett. But it's the biggest project on Base. I've made a video about it. There are a couple of minor issues that I have with the project, but they are minor. I do think if it gets to 20 cents, you should sell some. And if you can get it at under 11 cents, which we were another 15% below 11 cents, go and get some Brett. Even if you buy $50 or $100 of it, go and get some, because that's likely to turn into $200. Good morning, Eugene. Welcome to the show. Dog with hat is down a touch. Helium, Akash, stacks. It's one of those days. Go and pick up some bargains. And remember, I'm going to give you a target. Okay? And that target is very simple. I think you have 6 weeks left to pack your bags. I think you have the rest of August, and I think you have September. And that is it. I don't think you've got much longer to pack your bags. You might not even have until the end of October. You might only have 4 weeks. So my advice, and this is my advice I give to everybody, make a goddamn plan. Make a plan. Stop randomly buying crypto that pumps or dumps. It's going to get you nowhere. Okay? Make a plan. And that plan should consist of a checklist. Do you own enough Bitcoin and Ethereum? Do you own enough layer 1s and layer 2s? Do you own enough real world assets, AI tokens, meme coins? Do you have them all? Do you have a good amount of each? Do you have 4 or 5 memes? Do you have 4 or 5 RWAs? Do you have 4 or 5 AI coins? Make a plan now to make sure that you are not overly heavy in one category. Okay? It might sound great to own 80% of your portfolio in real world asset tokens like Ondo, for example, but you're going to miss out on all the gains from the other categories. You're going to miss out of the gains from Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana, the XRP price by October. Remember, October the 7th is the deadline by which the SEC cannot complain, cannot they cannot appeal after October the 7th. October is takeoff. Q4 this year, everything is going to change. And I'm telling you now, okay, make a plan. If you don't know how to make a plan, if you are stuck, go to my Telegram group and ask me. And if you want me to make a video, I'll make a video. But if you haven't got a plan, what are you doing? Okay, think of it that way. It's great buying Bitcoin and everything else, but please make sure you have a breakdown. I've made a portfolio video. I made it 3 days ago. And yes, it's not the most outlandish portfolio video in the world, but it's my portfolio. I've been in crypto for 8 years. It doesn't need to be stacked high full of bonk and ponk and Pepe and everything else. So go and watch that video and make a plan. Now, as I said, I nailed this. I came in at 2.9. I said it would come in at 2.9. The reasoning behind my guess, which it's a guess, was if it came in dead on 3%, Chairman Powell would not have been able to make the move to cut interest rates next month. So I thought they would go a shade under, and they did, 2.9%. Let's move on then. The state of Wisconsin. You see, Eugene, I can pronounce your states. The state of Wisconsin. Investment board's investment in BlackRock Bitcoin ETF has grown to nearly $100 million with an increase of 447,000 shares. Don't sell your Bitcoin, okay? When you wake up in the morning and you go to your mirror and you're yawny and you're tired and you've got sleepy eyes like I had in the video that I've made this morning for the OGs, look in the mirror and say to yourself, I'm not going to sell my Bitcoin. Everything else is open to discussion, not your Bitcoin. Again, what makes me laugh about Elon Musk is, I watched an old interview with him, where the guy was saying, you should censor more. And Elon Musk said, if it's not illegal, why should I censor it? And the guy was saying, because you need to moderate your chat. To which Elon Musk quite rightly said, if it is not illegal and I decide to censor it, then I am threatening free speech. And like it or not, the only time that free speech is a problem is when somebody says something that you don't like. If I sat here and told you all that Bitcoin was going to $1 million and Ethereum was going to $100,000 and Solana was going to $10,000, yes, I'd probably have 5 times the number of subscribers that we've got now. But why would I want to do that? Well, I wouldn't sleep well at night. So I'm not going to do that. The US government has moved 10,000 Bitcoin from Silk Road wallets. Again, more panic in the streets. Do we need to panic about this? No, we do not, because where it has been moved is a custodian. Now, there is a rumor that it has been sold directly OTC to the Blue American Exchange, but I can neither confirm nor deny that. But just because they move Bitcoin does not mean it is up for sale. Now then, we are moving on. We do not have a lot of time, and we have an absolute ton of stuff to go through. So what am I showing you? This is the dollar index. I brought it up on Monday. Today is Thursday. Yes, I know we only do this once a month, but I drew a line on Monday, and my line went something like this. Okay, that was my line that I drew. It would help if you could see my line. That was the line I drew on Monday. What has happened? It didn't even try to follow my line, and it has come down. And this is heaven for Bitcoin. Okay, remember when Bitcoin pumped in October? Do you remember that? Let me go back. See this section here? All of that was our Bitcoin pump. And what happened to the DXY while we were pumping on Bitcoin? It was going through the floor. And we pumped for 3 or 4 months. The DXY dumped. Can you see a similarity now? The DXY is coming down. Why is it coming down? Because they're going to start to print money. So when they cut interest rates, what does it do? It puts money into the economy. Why? Because people have more money to spend. Their loans cost less. Their mortgages cost less. They have more money to spend in the shops and restaurants and bars. Businesses can borrow at cheaper rates so they can employ more people. It's a good thing in some respects. The money printing that the Americans do, not so good. So breaking below this line here, which I have drawn for a long time, this is great news. This is great news. And again, I'm not going to say it's going to go sub 100. I don't think it will. I think this trend line that we've got here for a long time is going to hold. And that goes back to July last year, which was the bottom for Bitcoin, by the way. So I think, again, even though I drew my line to bounce like that, I think we are probably going to bounce like that. And that's what I think we're going to do. So even though we are down, the bottom of our trend line is 102. So I don't think we're going to go much lower, 102.2. So I think this is the bottom. And then we will start to move up. But again, it would be good for this to move up, hit this bull market support band, which is probably here, and then come back down. That would be a good move for the DXY and a good move for Bitcoin. Now then, very quickly, something else I'm keeping an eye on very closely, and you need to keep an eye on very closely. Should you be buying Ethereum over Bitcoin right now? That is the question. And the answer is still, when the chart loads, where've my lines gone? There we go. The answer is still no, you shouldn't be buying Ethereum over Bitcoin at this moment in time. 1 second. I appear to have drawn some kind of cretinous chart. There we go. Why should you not buy Ethereum over Bitcoin? I've said it for all the OGs, they know. This is the downward channel, which has been going on now for 2 whole years. Ethereum has been losing value against Bitcoin. And yes, Ethereum got excited, it put its shoes on to go for a little walk, and then Bitcoin said, take your shoes off. It started to rain, and we came down to the level that I said, which was 0.04. We have bounced a little bit. We have come back into this range, but until we break this downward trend, there is no point in buying Ethereum over Bitcoin. The only thing I would say is that Grayscale has stopped selling. Now, again, what would that mean? That would mean that potentially we could see this break out, but I wouldn't want to get too excited until we break this line, which is 485. So we've got a little bit to go, another 7 or 8% to go. Break that line, and again, maybe we see this, and maybe we see this. At some point, Bitcoin will have to stop bossing everything else around. We just have to wait until Bitcoin has had its fill. It is the king of the jungle after all. And then finally, let's have a look at some crypto bubbles. I don't want to do this every day, but we'll do it for now. The hour is green, positive. The weekly is green, positively, positive. And yearly is green. However, the daily, not so green. A few winners. The majority of coins are down between 3, 4, 5, and 6%. So again, it's positive on the weekly, and the hourly we're having a very small recovery back up. But again, let's let the markets digest the news about potentially rate cuts in September. Bitcoin falls under $60,000 as investors' global economic slowdown concerns rise. Fear of a global economic recession continue to drive investors away from risk on assets like Bitcoin. And why are we heading towards a recession? Because we had to slow the economies down, because they were overheating, inflation was rampant. They decided 2 or 3 years ago to print their way out of the pandemic and pump their economies full of money. You had the ability to stay at home and order your takeaways and order from Amazon and put your feet up and not do any work. What happens? Well, if you didn't do any work, nothing got produced. If we gave you all the money that you would normally have, you want to buy the things that aren't being produced, and the cost went up. Transportation costs went up, everything went up. And unfortunately, inflation has to eat away at the amount of money that was printed. So in America, for example, they printed 30% of the supply of US dollars, and inflation is about 56, 55% cumulatively. So if you take that as, if you deduct from one from the other, you'll get back down to the baseline of about 2%, which is where they want it to get to. So in the future, when your country tells you that they are going to print money and give you money for free, you should put that away in a savings account and not spend it, because you're going to need to pay for your goods at a higher rate 2 years down the line. So we're in or heading towards a recession. Are we going to get there? Well, Bitcoin got back above the prices. Remember what I told you on the stream about 10 times, 61,700. I said it in the Telegram group. I said it in the OG Telegram group. Why is that number so important? Did I just pick that out of thin air? No, I did not. I will show you why 61.7 is so important when I bring up the Bitcoin chart, which hopefully will be soon, when it decides to work for me. You wouldn't think that I have a fiber connection in this house, would you? There we go. Bitcoin. Let me show you the chart, and then we'll go back through the news so you can see them side by side. There we have, let's get rid of that. There we have the bottom of the bull market support band, coming in as it was at 61.7. It's about 61.5 now. What has happened? If we go and have a look, we got rejected, we got rejected, we got rejected. Okay, we keep getting rejected at 61.7, 61.5, 61.7. As the article points out, we got rejected again. We've come all the way back down to under $59,000. We're sitting at 59.3. I'll show you where I think we could go in a minute. We signposted this as well, because on Saturday in our Telegram group, we were talking about getting rejected at 61.7 and coming down to 58,000. Now, we said that on the Saturday. We didn't think we'd still be talking about it on the Thursday. But that's just the way, you can't time the markets to perfection. So, of course, MicroStrategy is going to buy more. We know about this. The Bitcoin ETFs were sucking even more Bitcoin out of the charts. And we talked about Goldman Sachs yesterday. We don't need to cover that. But the issue is this. The CPI data was coming at 2.9. Its lowest since 2021. Some things contributed to this massively. One was, I think, second-hand cars and shelter costs again. So there were a few big hitters that got the CPI number, the inflation rate, down below this target. Doesn't talk about the cost of food. However, and this is where we need to be careful, just give me 1 second. As I press that button there we go, we are back. The S&P retraced a while before Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been slightly detached from the S&P for a while. Fears of a recession, fears of companies cutting back, more unemployment, it's all going to lead to fear. However, I do not believe, as some do, that we are going to head towards a massive a recession. We might dip into a recession for 2 quarters, yes, minus 0.1, minus 0.2, but I don't think it's anything to worry about. As I've said at the start of the show, you have 6 weeks left, I think, to pack your bags. That is October. The miners, the capitulation of the miners, I said back in April, was going to last to the very latest to October. So that lines up. Interest rates being cut will be middle to end of September. That's something to throw into October. So October is starting to look like the month. Look at what we covered yesterday, Matthew Hyland. He was talking about August sets the low, if you like. Now, if we have a look at August and we go back to the bottom of this wick, which was August the 5th, I believe, that was what, 49,000? Was that the low? Was that the low? Do we think, what did it come in at exactly? We wicked down to 49.1. Could that be the low? Are we going to see 49,000 again from 58,000? We'll get to that in a minute. So macro environment, economic trends have not been favourable for Bitcoin's performance. The CPI data has come in. We went to 62,000. We've absolutely tanked. However, the slowdown, what happens is when people try to front run something, they always look for the best or the worst case scenarios. And the worst case scenario is we head into a deep global recession. That's not going to happen. But neither are we going to go into a macroeconomic boom. There's going to be somewhere in the middle. We're going to have some countries maybe in recession, or some countries, their growth is going to be below expectations. Some countries will have a recession. Maybe somebody like Germany will have a recession, or Japan will have a recession. Maybe America will go to 0.1, 0.01, 0.1, something like that. But it's not going to be 1918 or 1914 or whatever it was. One silver lining is that the Bitcoin could become a valuable asset if the global economy fails to maintain its momentum. We're not at that stage yet. Bitcoin is not seen as a risk-off asset yet. It is not seen as a flight to safety asset. It is not seen as a global reserve yet. I think we're probably still a good cycle away, a good 4 years away from that. When America is holding 1 million Bitcoin and China and Russia have got 500,000 or 600,000 Bitcoin, and it's a nation state global reserve, then yes, we're there, but we're not there yet. So I don't think Bitcoin can get away from its high risk name. Now, where are we going to come? That's the question. Well, if we take the fact that we've been pointing at the fact that we keep getting rejected from this bull market support band, the next level down is probably about 54,000. That would be my happy bottom. I don't think there is such a thing as a happy bottom, but we'll call it a happy bottom. It's always been sat on, isn't it? But of course, we've got the bottom of this trend line, which is coming at 56.5. So I think anywhere in this range. We've had the CPI data. It would take another shock to bring us down. We've still got, as well, we've still got this price down here, which is coming in at about 52,000. We've still got that over there. I don't see it. I think everything is either undercooked or overcooked when it comes to things like this. And again, we had this kind of play out, which would take us back towards 55, 54,000. That's still on the cards. So I'm not looking up at the minute, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not looking up, but you shouldn't care because you're holding Bitcoin for the next 12 months. So what you should want is you should want to be buying in that zone there. If we come into this zone here, this is the smiley zone. Let's draw a big smile. That's a smiley box. That's where you want Bitcoin to go to buy it. What we don't want to do right now, if your bags are not packed, is do that and go to 69,000. We don't want that. You want you to be able to pack your bags. And packing your bags means dollar cost averaging in over the next 6 weeks. That's what I would do. If I had $1,000 or $10,000, I would put in $166 a week, $1,600 a week into Bitcoin for the next 6 weeks, because by October or the middle of October, I'd expect us to be going up. Now then, we're going to move on because we don't want to talk about Bitcoin all the time. We've got a lot of messages in chat that I've missed. Mansa has said that September is always a red month. It's Rectember. He is correct. September is nearly always a bad month. August isn't great either. Good morning, Bullish Bull. Eugene, insurance and utilities have gone up over 30% for you this year. Inflation is just rotating from sector to sector. Absolutely agree. And Daniel has made comment on my happy bottom. I don't have a happy bottom right now because it is warm in here. We're coming to the end of August, and I'm still melting like a snow cone in Phoenix. And I don't think that's going to change for the next week or so. We have some good news to come out. Obviously, you know that the channel is sponsored by Mew, but we are hopefully going to become an ambassador of a decentralized exchange in the next few days, and we will make an announcement video, hopefully today or tomorrow, about that. And again, you know, every day that we go by, that we keep trying to give you guys the best show we can, we attract more and more advertisers, sponsors, and supporters. And we are going to start our Wednesday night giveaways again. I'm penciling in next Wednesday for the first one. And if that goes to plan, we will do another one the following Wednesday. So I'm not going to commit to that, but that's the plan. Now we're going to move on very quickly. $1 ADA price, highly imminent as Cardano sees record holder confidence despite price lull. Now, again, one thing I want to make very clear. I am sick and tired of maxis from Cardano, from Ethereum, from Bitcoin, from Solana, backbiting each other. It's a waste of energy, absolute waste of energy. I don't care what you think of other chains. I don't care what you think about Ethereum being slow, Solana being a rug, Bitcoin being 1980s technology. I don't care. Promote your own chain and build positivity around your own chain. And this backbiting, if you went into a bar or a restaurant and everybody's arguing, what do? You're going to walk out. You're going to leave, because why should you stay when everybody's backbiting? Okay, we don't want backbiting. It's childish. It's school ground. It's playground. Just cut it out. And the number of people I've seen from the Cardano community bitching about Solana, I don't care. Just look after your own chain. Charles is a great head. Even though he's not a CEO, we know he's still a great head and spokesperson for Cardano. The technology is great. The proof of stake is that good that Ethereum are probably going to copy it. Okay, it isn't finished yet. It's not built. Okay, I don't like the wallets. Okay, I don't like the way the wallets work. I think they could go and take a leaf out of Phantom's book. I don't like MetaMask for that matter. So ADA needs to focus on itself and focus on the positivity. I don't see anybody making videos about Cardano other than to say it's dead. So they need to do some, they need to make people FOMO into Cardano. So Cardano is demonstrating a robust signal of holder confidence despite its price remaining subdued. On Tuesday, Into the Block revealed a resilient core of long-term investors. Notably, the firm noted that the number of unique addresses holding Cardano has remained steady for over a year at 4.5 million. Again, if you've got 4.5 million people holding your Cardano, why do you care about Solana? And this nonsense about, oh, we don't want to see people getting rubbed. Really? Is that your concern? Or are you more jealous of the fact that Solana is taking the headlines in the press space? I know which one I think it is. This plateau highlights a stabilization period following a surge in address growth that characterized the previous bull market of it going to $3.10. Remember, I think in this bull run, Cardano could get back towards $3. Max bullishness on Cardano, maybe $5 at this stage. But we're running out of time, aren't we? We've got a year left, maybe. Cardano does run late. Chang is being released. I'm really bullish on the technology, but they need to get it out the door by the end of the year. During the last cycle, Cardano experienced significant growth, positioned as a strong alternative to Ethereum. However, in the current cycle, the network faces challenges in attracting new users, with much of the attention shifting towards platforms like Solana and Base. Again, I don't see them having a go at Base. And Base has got big numbers. It's got its own meme coin. Cardano has got its own meme coins. I've covered two of them. Snek is my favorite, and then Bank. Two really good meme coin communities over on Cardano. I joined their Discord channels. They're really nice people. But again, if you've got 20,000 holders of Snek or 40,000 holders of Snek, that's great. But Solana have got over 650,000 people holding Bonk, for example. The numbers are not the same. Cardano's underlying fundamentals remain strong. The network continues to have an impressive daily transaction volume. Again, these are good numbers. Cardano needs to focus on itself. Chang hard fork is part of the network's Voltaire era. This significant upgrade aims to enhance decentralized governance. Again, what the Treasury does with its 1.5 billion ADA is being handed over to the DAO. I spoke a few weeks ago about what's Ethereum's roadmap. It's crap. It's just waffle. Cardano have got a solid roadmap, and it's planned out step by step. It's well worth going to look at Cardano's roadmap. It's very good. Given the current mixed developments, investors speculate whether the coin might be on the verge of a rebound. It's at 32.34 cents. I'm going to have a quick look at Cardano. Again, I hold Cardano. I've shown you my portfolio. You know exactly what I'm holding. So I'm not going to be sitting here in a year's time saying, I told you all to go big on AVAX. 15% of my portfolio is in AVAX, when clearly it isn't. I think I've got, 0.1%. So what's happening with Cardano? Again, it was having a moment, okay? It was having a moment, and then Bitcoin broke everything. And since that, it's gone in that general direction. Now, we are in the kill zone, as we call it. And this is a zone where you buy a coin that you think will perform well. Now, do I think it's going to go to $1 anytime soon? Absolutely not. I think the first thing we need to do, if ADA is going to have a pump, is get back above 45 cents. Now, that is a 33% move, and that's not going to happen anytime super soon, in my opinion. But we are at the lows. We are at the lows. If you go back here, when we started our bull run in October, Cardano was down at 23 cents. We ran up to 80 cents, okay? So peak run, recent run, got us to 80 cents. And that article was talking about $1. I don't think we need to be talking about $1 right now. I think we need to get Cardano to somewhere near 50 cents. Remember, these coins need to position themselves for the end of the bull run. Now, 33 cents to $3.30, for example, is a 10x. Okay, that's a big axe in a short space of time. If it's at 50 cents, it's a 6x. I think that's more achievable. Yes, the amount of money is still required, but I think it will be more desirable. So I've got this line in here, which is 49.3 cents. There we go. That's where we need to get to. That line there is where we need to move to on Cardano, and that's a 50% move. I think if we do that, we should be happy. Get back above the bull market support band and take it from there. And yes, there are loads of people out there who are really against Cardano. They think it's trash. They think XRP is trash. I don't think either chain is trash. I think there are faster horses, and those faster horses this bull run are more than likely going to be Solana. Did you see that transition? That right there is quality. Right then, let us move on. Mikey is in. If and when Bitcoin has a 4 in front DCA. Good morning, Fran. Time to shift to Antarctica. Yeah, I think that's where I need to move to. I can't see Bitcoin at $44,000, Mikey. I know it's on the chart. I know it's doable. But I just can't see. I can't see 49,000. It would have to tank. What would that be from where we are now? That would have to be a 20% move down after we've just had a 30% move down. I mean, would we break the bull run if we got to 44,000? Analyst sets Solana price roadmap from 147 to 205. Again, I watched DZ. DZ, I've watched for a while, on and off. I'm not a fanboy. I can't mentally see a $44,000. Neither can I. I can see another wick. I can see another wick to 40. The thing with DCAing is, if we're going to DCA in every week for the next 6 weeks, I can't see us staying below 50,000 for 6 weeks. And I think October we're going to pump. Maybe the second week of October we'll start to pump. So that might give you 7 weeks to dollar cost average in. What I would do, based on what Mikey said there, is I would, if we got to 48,000 or 46 or 44,000, I would stop dollar cost averaging in and pile in. So I would double up. So if you've got $100 a week to put into Bitcoin, for example, and we go to 44,000, I'd start putting $200 in. And that's what I would do. So if we're at 58, it's $100. If we're at 54, it's $100. But if we start to get towards 50, 48 and 46, I would double up on my DCA. I would double down, and because they would be incredible prices. And if that does happen and we do see 44,000, then every alt that you hold is going to be down massively. So that's what you need to be careful about. But like I said, you have to, expect the worst, prepare for the worst. And if the worst is 44,000, like I said, if you've got $1,000 and you're putting $100 a week in and we go to 44,000, I personally wouldn't even bother. I would just throw it all in at 44,000, because if we start to go down from 44,000, then we're in big trouble. And we did wick to 49, yes, and it can happen, but we're going to have to, what's going to push us down there? The CPI data, Mt. Gox is gone, Germany stopped dumping. I think we'd be talking about a grey or a black swan to push us down there, because we'd be in decline, and we'll have been in decline for such a long time that then I'd start to worry about the end of the bull run, because yes, we can go parabolic, but are we going to go parabolic from 70,000 or parabolic from 44? Yeah, that's what I mean. So where are we? So Solana, can it go back to $200? Absolutely it can. There is a bullish scenario. I was telling you about DZ. There is a bullish scenario for Solana, which, if we don't get the ETF in time, then I think Solana won't go above $600. If we get the ETF, we could go upwards of $800 to $1,000 with the ETF. Without the ETF, I think $600 is the top. I don't see how we get to $1,000 without an ETF, because Solana will be the third biggest blockchain by then, and you're talking about it doing, from where we are now, a 7x. That's quite a big move up. So I think we'd need an ETF to get it up there. But $200 is on the cards. Our Linda has highlighted that despite recent volatility, the factors such as US unemployment rate and profit taking, Solana has been navigating a period of consolidation within a significant bullish trend. She outlined a clear roadmap for Solana, projecting a journey to $205. I prefer when people speak in not common sense, but realistic targets. You know, I keep reminding you all that Cryptos R Us has said that Solana will get to $1,000 by the end of the year. And again, I'm yet to prove that it isn't. So technically it's still on the cards. But again, I think it's false not promises. I think it's feeding you with false information. I think if we're anywhere near $200 or $300 by the end of the year for Solana, or maybe $300 by the end of the year, I'd be really happy with that going into the bull run. Absolutely. So Solana is in a consolidation phase, which we've looked at before. We're at 144 now. Again, these support levels are pretty much what we've covered before in the channel. I think I've got 154, 124, and then I've got $99. And again, we could go, if Bitcoin goes to 48, 47,000, then Solana will be at $99. And I think that would be a good way. Praying is not a strategy I use. Pray we don't go parabolic towards the downside. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Pump might start towards late September. I think, like I said, I put the date of October the 20th as a mental note. That's 6 months after the halving. And that's when I think it would start to go. If you look at the previous 3 cycles, 2020, 2016 and 2012, we go parabolic in Q4, and that would be October, November and December. So that ties up as well to the prediction of, you know, how long do we have to wait for? And I have said to Reza and loads of people in Telegram that the summer is boring. And yes, we've had wicks up and down, but nothing's going to happen in the summer. And so far, nothing's really happened in the summer. We've had some wicks down, some wicks up, but we're still in the range. We've looked at the Bitcoin chart, we haven't really moved. So although we're getting moves, we're not getting the moves. And all of those cycles, yeah, I know, but the thing with the ETF, I think it's inflated the price. So where should we be now? If we didn't have the ETF, we should probably be at about $44,000, $45,000. And we're at what? We're at 58. So it's pumped the price of Bitcoin by roughly 25%. Now, I think based on diminishing returns, we could get to $110,000 without the ETF. So if you multiply that by 1.25, you might see $140,000 Bitcoin. That is still within the realms of possibility. But I think without an ETF, I still think we were going to get to 110,000 because diminishing returns, the way I calculated it, was 60% higher than the previous all-time high. So I think that we're not going to have up only because we normally have 7 30% corrections along the way. So we might, like I said yesterday, we might hit December in max euphoria and we might come crashing down in January. And that January could be a 30% retracement. We could have a 30% retracement in June or April or May around then as well. So we could have 7 or 8. But we don't know for certain, but we have to use them as a guide, and they're right until they're wrong. So we have to kind of take them as gospel. A lot of people are saying we're going to have a front run bull run, which means that we'll top out in April. I'm still sticking with November, and until we get there, we're there. You know what I mean? I'm not going to disagree with that. Now, like you say, with Bitcoin, same with Solana. We weren't far off hitting that, were we? We moved that right a bit. We weren't far. Come on. That's a round of applause at least. We did wick down there. Again, worst case scenario for me, I think, is $99. We have broken below our trend line. on Solana. We were pretty much on this from June. We stayed on it. It then the trend line then became resistance, and now we are sitting similar to Bitcoin. We're sitting just below the bull market support band, and we need to move that yellow line a little bit. And that was coming in at 140. What's that? 147. 147.54. That's what we need to get above, and then after that we need to get back above 155. But like I said, if we do come crashing down, then we'd look at, for me, 118 and then 99. But again, it's on a knife edge, it can go anywhere. Let me just very quickly catch up with this. Suits start selling, everyone will panic. Of course they will. Of course they will. The question is really, when do the ETFs sell? And that's the question, because so far we haven't seen a massive amount of selling out of the ETFs. Are we going to see that at $100,000? If we get to $95,000, $97,000, are we just going to see the ETFs dump? Because when they came into the market, they were, what were we at? We got to 74,000. So if we get to the end, or not the end, but if we get towards the end of the bull run and we're running at $100,000, are they just going to take their profits? With God, nothing is impossible. Never doubt the God factor. That is very true, Solo Sky. We are, of course, creatures of creation. Now then, we're going to move on to a slightly more different point, which is the head of digital asset management at Fidelity has said stablecoins, tokenized treasuries, and on-chain credit may be in the offing. Now, this is something I have thought about in the past. Elon Musk talked about holding euros, and he said that he was losing 1% of his bank account balance every year to the banks in Europe. So if he had $1 billion in Europe, the following year he would have 990 million. So he was losing on those fees. Then you've got inflation to take into account. And remember, when you're talking about these treasuries that have 100 million, 1 billion, $10 billion, holding your money in fiat means over the course of maybe 50 years, it gets eroded to zero. The buying power goes. So treasuries need to find ways of holding their assets, holding their money in assets which keeps value, such as gold traditionally. And some people are now talking about Bitcoin. And some of the early adopters are moving into Bitcoin. We've got the MicroStrategy of Japan doing it. We've got MicroStrategy doing it. Tesla owns $500 million of Bitcoin. And maybe it will start to make up a 1 or 2 or 3% allocation of treasuries. But moving them on chain also isn't a bad idea, because if you tokenize your treasury and it's got $1 billion in it and you put it into stable coins, you can earn 3 or 4% a year from having them in stable coins or going over and using Ondo or HODL or whatever it might be. It's not a bad idea. The way that we have been thinking about our product roadmap is primarily driven by demand from our client base, as well as how we evaluate the market in terms of ability to support such a new product. Again, BlackRock trying to head towards tokenization. Money can be tokenized, assets can be tokenized, and that seems to be the direction. Where many of us were very surprised was the velocity of the demand certainly was very significant. The asset growth has been generally as we expected, given the overall market cap and size of Ethereum as compared to Bitcoin. Yeah, we know about that. Whether that happens, I'm trying to get to the interesting bit, or is that the interesting? Here we go. What else is on the product roadmap for a company that has been working with blockchain for over a decade and runs 2 separate units focused on crypto? Well, that's just about every major financial firm working within crypto. Tokenization is the big thing. Whether an asset can be represented on chain, but whether it should be represented on chain, this all comes back to client demand and whether blockchain unlocks activities that cannot be done in an existing traditional capital market. Stable coins, we talked about stable coins a lot. Where we are looking at, and certainly I've been evaluating projects that we've already seen in the market, we think stablecoins from the standpoint of representing tokenized cash, certainly an obvious use case. The next evolution post stablecoins is tokenized treasury products. Post that, we've seen a lot of interesting projects working in the credit and structured product space that we're also researching. Again, why do they want to do this? Because it removes friction. In America, especially America, you have what are called sophisticated investors. You have to have a certain amount of money, and that classifies you as a sophisticated investor. It's the biggest load of nonsense you've ever heard. The majority of you listening to this are more knowledgeable than sophisticated investors who might have $1 million. Okay? Yes, they may have bigger houses, nicer cars, whatever it might be, but just because they have more money does not make them sophisticated. And this is a problem with the existing financial system. Onboarding people that have $10,000 is not worth their time. Onboarding people with $10 million is. Now, when you tokenize something, you remove all of that friction. You can create automated processes for KYC, AML, everything else. You can create products that give access to everybody with maybe a $100 or a $1,000 investment. So suddenly you've unlocked a fair amount of money and you're giving people products that they've never had access to. And tokenization will give people access to the stock exchange, treasuries, treasury bonds that will pay you 4%, 5%, wherever it might be, using products like Ondo. And I think where I draw the line is I don't like the idea of tokenizing buildings because a building can burn down. And I don't like the idea of tokenizing perishable goods. I think we should look at existing financial products that funds, for example, and you should be able to invest in funds as long as you're legally entitled to. You should be able to invest with a minimum $100 or $500, wherever it might be. So I think this is the future of the where financial institutions are going to go. And again, they can cut out the middleman. You know, brokers that sit in the middle taking their 1 or 2%. It comes out of your pocket. And of course, BlackRock and the likes have to pay commission. So I think it's a good idea for you to be able to access products that in the past were kept to the elites, the rich people, whatever it might be. And I'm all for it. And I'm always going to try and find you products that you can use, like Swarm. We've covered Swarm on here. I made a video about Swarm. Again, you can go and sign up to Swarm. You can go and buy digitalized gold. You can buy synthetic stocks. You can invest in treasuries. They're connected up with Ondo. It's a German-based and German-regulated business, so it's not in the Seychelles, whatever. And I think it's the future. I think we need to move that way. Now then, 2 more things to talk about, and then it's 12 o'clock, and we've done reasonably okay. How is it possible for some people to be able to manipulate the market in general? I don't really know how they go about that. There are very large market makers, and the names you will never have heard of because they keep themselves to themselves. And they are market movers, and they are what people call the whales. So as long as you think of market manipulators as individuals who sit in darkened rooms, trying to crash and pump the price of Bitcoin. When you get that out of your head and replace it with offices full of individuals looking for inefficiencies in the market, liquidation prices for people, why do we always crash when we look like we're going up? Why do we always pump when we look like we're going down? Remember what we say, the market always does the opposite. And the reason is that the market, they're not whales. We should really call them sharks because they go hunting, and they go hunting for liquidations. And there are there are a couple of very big market movers out there that we've mentioned them once or twice on the channel, and they move the market and they go after the liquidations because that's where they make the majority of their funds, and they move the price around and they target it. If you look at the order book, for example, there's order books you can look at. You can look at the open interest, how much it is. When it goes negative, normally we're going to pump. When it goes positive, we normally dump. There's loads of ways to do it, but you've got to get the idea out of your head that it's one individual or it's a group of 3 or 4 whales. These are highly sophisticated groups of individuals that simply want to detach you from your money. And the further it goes on with things like Bitcoin, the easier it's going to be able to do it with alts. Because Bitcoin is becoming a really big asset right now, and it's easier to do it on the likes of Solana, for example, or even XRP, or maybe not XRP, it doesn't move that much, but a highly volatile top 20 asset. Now then, did we get through that last article? We didn't, did we? There we go. So again, another week, another disaster for NFTs. Immutable has wound down its NFT marketplace to allow marketplaces within its ecosystem to flourish. Why Web3 gaming needs its own Steam. And again, I am not going to sit here and tell you that Web3 gaming is ever going to work, because until we get a game the size of Fortnite, or a game the size of Grand Theft Auto, or anything of that size, Call of Duty, until we get one of those games using blockchain technology, it's never going to work. And we need to look at adding blockchain to games, not building games on the blockchain. There's two different ways to do things, and I don't think we need to look at blockchain, solely blockchain-based games, because you're doing it for the sake of doing it, and that's not the point. What is the point of blockchain gaming? In my opinion, it's asset ownership. You own the skin, the character, the weapon, the car, the assets, you own them, okay? And then you can sell them, so you can make an income from them. And they are exclusive to you. They are one of ones, or they are a limited amount. They're non-fungibles. That's what we need. Why are we building games directly on the blockchain? What's the point? We need to look at what games work. Look at Nintendo and Sony and Xbox. What can we add to those games? Gala have tried to do it. Gala have done both. They have blockchain-based games, and they have games that have added blockchain to them. And it's just not ready, and I don't see it working. And, you know, there was a couple of gaming developers, I'm trying to think of the name of one of them now, I can't remember its name. They tried to announce that they were going to go into blockchain gaming, and their entire community rounded on them. So we're not there. We're not there. And gamers will turn around and say, I don't care. I play the game, I stop playing the game, that's the end of it. So I think we're beating our heads against a brick wall when it comes to gaming. We need gaming. We need to do something with it because it's got a massive users. But I don't think we've made a breakthrough. In this week's newsletter, right, okay, we don't need to read that bit. NFT and gaming blockchain Immutable shut down its marketplace to focus on expanding its ecosystem. It announced it would wind down operations on August the 13th, which was 2 days ago. The company said it would support other marketplaces within its ecosystem instead of competing with them. The team highlighted that the Immutable marketplace was initially created to showcase what was possible, and nobody used it. Again, okay, that's the end of it. That's good because I'm running out of time. Again, you can say what you want about NFTs, but I don't see a future in the way that NFTs are used. I think for cinema tickets, concert tickets, season tickets to sporting clubs, fantastic. Vanity projects to do with Balenciaga, fine, I get all of that. Online concerts, I get all of that, it all works perfectly fine. But having a Bored Ape, or having a Mutant Ape, or having a Pudgy Penguin, okay, how many more NFT projects do you want, and how is it going to benefit gaming? I just don't see it at the minute. I just don't see it. I think we're a ways away. I don't think gaming tokens are going to do very well this cycle. I think it'll be next cycle. I think all of the metaverse tokens are trash. They've not had adoption. They've had 4 years. They've done nothing. The only couple of games that I've liked, Nyan Heroes, Star Atlas, and Earth from Another Sun, I like. But apart from that, what's the point of them? I don't see the point in them. So then, moving quickly on because it is midday and I'm trying to get to the end of the show. MetaMask debuts Web3 debit card allowing users to buy directly from their crypto wallets. The card was developed in collaboration with MasterCard and will be offered to a few thousand UK and EU users. The card allows users to make purchases directly from their self-custodial wallets, and it will support USDC, USDT, and WETH assets held on Linear, the Layer 2 network. A broader distribution of the MetaMask card is scheduled for later this year. It was developed with MasterCard and API platform banks, which I've heard of before. The card allows users to make crypto payments. We've already read that bit out. I read the TLDR and now it's saying the same thing. Now, it's been working on this for a while. We've covered it before. And again, what you have to understand is Visa and MasterCard, they want the pie, okay? They want all the pie. They're very, very similar to the way that BlackRock wants all of the pie. How do they get the pie? They get the pie by cutting out the banks. So if you have $100,000 in MetaMask, which you shouldn't have, but if you did, and you connect it directly to a Visa card, then it goes over Visa and never goes near a bank. So the bank doesn't make any money out of it. And that's what Visa and MasterCard both want. They want all of the pie. They want MetaMask because it's the biggest wallet. They will go after Phantom probably, and Trust, and Kepler and the like further down the line once it all works. But they want the pie. And banks should be scared because this cuts them out. Banks get the transaction fees as well as Visa and MasterCard. But now banks are out of the equation. Visa and MasterCard get all of the transaction fees and probably split it with banks, split it with MetaMask as well. So they're going to make even more money. So be careful. It's a good idea and we like the idea, but it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's going to suddenly have a card where they don't have to declare their income, because there will be KYC. If it's in the UK and Europe, it will require KYC. It will require you to upload your documents. Think of it this way. MetaMask and your wallet is anonymous, pretty much, if you transact solely outside of centralized exchanges. The second that you want to connect a MasterCard to it, guess what? Your passport will have to be added, your KYC will have to be done, and that wallet that you own will be tagged to your name, and that information will go to your local government. So don't think this is a way of you spending your gains without having to pay tax. That's not going to work. Anyway, we are finished. So thank you everybody for coming along. Thank you to Mikey, to Solo Sky, Drop Dead, Mansa for joining in. Fran, thanks everybody. Remember, we are live tonight at 9 p.m. Brogan is back with the trading show. Make sure to come along, catch up with him. And if you want coins looking at tonight, you have to drop them into Telegram because he has to prepare the charts. So with all that being said, let's go very quickly and have a look at the Bitcoin price. Are we still at 58.4? 58.4, 58.5? 58.4, perfect. Right, I will see you all in the morning. Make sure to tune in tonight for Brogan. Tomorrow is Friday. Take care. See you all. Oh, before I go, CPI, good rate cuts in September. 23 votes, not many. 74% say yes, 26% say no. Take care, everybody. See you in the morning.